Well, we are 5 minutes early before the time. Yesterday we've had a mic cut. I wasn't aware of that after I watched the show again. Then I saw that at the ending of the show, then we had a mic drop. I think that would be consistent with the battery for the new equipment. But these things happen. And again, let me apologize for your inconvenience. But I was almost wrapping up when that happened. Let's make sure it doesn't happen again today. Closely monitor. Just let me know if the audio is coming good to you, so I can switch it. If it's not coming, I can just switch it before we have any difficulties coming up. But let me know if you're getting audio. The usual thumbs up. Then I know all is well. Send me a comment in the chat. Then everything is set there. So most folks are waiting for the 3 o'clock hour. In the meantime, let me just get this off. Again. Okay. All right. Good audio. That's great. That's great. That's wonderful. Folks, I must let you know that we're still in the summer here. Those of you who are in Europe or the United States of America, then you are, if you're certain parts of the US, then you're comforted by the cool weather. It's not as hot in your neck of the woods, but in my side, it's baking hot. But nonetheless, we thank the universe for nature. At least we're good. We're good here. You know, sometimes I do spend time to read comments around, TikTok, Facebook, wherever people feel the need to comment. And don't forget, listen. While you're watching, please subscribe. If you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. Okay, click that button, that subscribe button there. Click the link so that you will not miss out on any of the live in the future. So click subscribe to this channel, and your comments are always welcome. I might be touchy, because I'm human. Okay, I have a different side sometimes, and I do get touchy, but I read your comments anyway. You disagree, you agree, you cuss me, whatever you say. I read your comments. I do. Most of it. I don't like all of it. If you talk against me, I'm not going to like your comments. I'll just read it. But if you talk in favor, if you agree with me, you talk nice things, then we're good. I like people who like me. If you don't like me, I don't like you. I like people who like me. People who support me, I like those people. Don't take it personal. It's just influential. You know how it goes. And I make no apologies. Understand that. I make no apologies. So if you are thin-skinned, go watch a Lifetime movie or something. You shouldn't be here. We need to get it done. So today, it's happening. It's happening. We might be on the road to a war with Venezuela. We might be on the road to there. It's happening. I'm in support of it. What is also happening is that the next presidential candidate for the PPP, I decided to hold off on the whole third term thing. It's not good for the country. I've said it before. I've talked about it before. But I think I'll change my mind on that. It's not good. When President Ali finishes his second term, then that's it. Give somebody else a chance. Both President Ali and Vice President Jagdeo, no third term. This is not. There should be term limit to the presidency, the vice presidency, the prime minister, and ministers of government. The term limit should not only be limited to the president. The vice president should not have more than 2 terms. The prime minister should not have more than 2 terms. Ministers of government should not be recycled to more than 2 terms. Those who hold the same position should not be recycled. 2 terms for everyone. Let's do transparency. If we want to do democracy, let's do democracy. We need to understand that nobody owns the party. Nobody owns the PPP. It's a collective bargaining. The people who owns the PPP are the massive hundreds of thousands of Guyanese who vote on the PPP. They own the PPP. Not that small group, that 1%. They don't own it. They are elected. They are elected to certain positions by the people, by the masses. So this our culture of recycling, that has to stop. This is why people are developing hatred, resentment to seasoned career politicians. It is better when they finish their 2 terms, go back into parliament and become members of parliament. Fight the case because you know what's happening. Go and represent the people there. But not after 2030. If the PPP wins again, then we have the same vice president, the same prime minister, and the same ministers we have now are just going to recycle into some other ministry. That's nonsense. That will be a betrayal of democracy within the party and an insult to the country. It's like nobody else is capable. That should not happen. So no third term for nobody. It's enough. The vice president had 2 terms as president. Now 2 terms as vice president. That's enough. That's enough. After 2030, the vice president should not hold any public office when it comes to government. It's good to be an advisor, but no public office, no prime minister, no minister, no vice president. 2 terms is enough. The same way, we should not have a case where the president now, in the next election, if the PPP wins, the president becomes the vice president. Like the whole Jagdeo thing. No, that shouldn't happen. If you finish as president, then retire. You can be there as a consultant. You can be there as, there are many other capacity the president after his second term can occupy to support the government. You don't have to be the vice president. You don't have to be a prime minister. You don't have to. You can be a consultant, an advisor in your own capacity. But when you retire as president, you retire, you're done. But when you have to go and come, you're showing the people that they don't have a choice. You are in control. And it harbors resentment. You're losing support and you're losing trust. So no third term for nobody. After this 2030, none of the people we see right now that has been ministers twice in both 2020 and 2025 should not come back as anything other than advisors, just to get out of the way. However, my sources told me that the next presidential candidate for the People's Progressive Party would be Priya Manikchan. Can you believe that? Priya Manikchan, it is gossiped that she will be the next presidential candidate for the PPP. Priya Manikchan, a woman. Always remember where you're hearing these things first. Then afterwards, you see people running, coming with these kinds of stuff. But remember, Dr. Prasad told you first. I told you first. She will be the next presidential candidate for the PPP. Now, if I hadn't any political ambition before, now I do. Now I do. I'm not saying right now which party I'll be endorsing. I'm not saying right now. But I want you to understand, 2030 is tomorrow. 2030 is tomorrow. Figuratively speaking, you go to bed tonight, I'm telling you this, before you know it, it's 2028, then 2029, then what? Then what? It's elections again. Before you know it, it's elections again. And this is the mistake that a lot of politicians are making. They think they have the whole, there is no calendar attached to their reign. No, I'm not saying now which route I'll go. The next time. But to get that out of the way, she will be the next presidential candidate for the People's Progressive Party Civic. And I hope the vice president again would not be Barjaglia. I hope. Because if there's any indication that Vice President Barjaglia will go back as vice president, you can forget the win. You can forget about winning. Listen to the people. There's a lot of resentment, especially now. Elections are over. And all the excitement, all the hope mongering, all the talks of this and talks of that, it has changed so quick. You will think it's going to prolong for like a few months. You know, don't jump so quick. Don't turn your back so quick. Prolong the thing for a while. It's just let it play out. Let it sink in. But you see what the Wayne people are doing? This news about the infestation of pigeons at the school, where you know pigeons are nasty birds. They're nasty birds. I can tell you, Recently, I've had a case of pigeon. Um, they're like immigrants. They're like these people who go across the border in their droves. They would just invade your space. Pigeons would invade your space, and they are so stubborn. You'll be fighting with them, and they're fighting back with you. No matter what guard you put up, if that guard is not strong enough to resist them, they would push it. 2 and 3 of them would just brace that fence together and just break it and go back there. They are very stubborn. But they also carry a lot of bacteria, especially when they poop. A lot of bacteria, a lot of germs, and because of the wind, when the wind flies, or when the rain comes down and it mixes with the pigeon poop and it goes into your water receiver, it can cause bacteria infestation. And if the children have to drink that or wash their faces or come in contact with that, it will affect them. Pigeons are terrible birds. You have to find some way to spray them out. Anyway, the thing is, we always talk about the young people, next generation, whatever it is. I want to know, why were they neglected for so long? Is it because this is a special needs school? And a special needs school, there's not much emphasis in those kinds of children because they cannot be exploited. You know what I mean? They're not the normal kids that you can invest in, that they will become a sports this or a sports that or a politician. So you treat the special needs like poor people. You only need them when you need them. No, humans are humans. Special needs or whatever needs, they're human beings. They were born into this world. They deserve the right amount of protection, the right to live, the right to breathe, the right to feel healthy, like everybody else. So that situation should have been dealt with. And who was minister at the time? Priya Manikchan. She was Minister of Education at the time when these things were pending. Nothing happened. Now you have all these kids falling sick from the pigeon infestation. And don't tell me that it's not proven that it's that. Then what else is it? You mean they come sick from home? Is it a pandemic? Why the other schools don't have this problem? So this was onus on the minister, who is now local government minister, Priya Manikchan, who is now beginning her campaign. She's invading all the ghettos there. She's going and making acquaintances. The campaign started. But these kids should be taken care of. Get rid of the pigeon. Don't wait until 2028 when it's time to vote. Then you pretend that you go do this. And look what the Win Party are doing. This is what's embarrassing when it comes to the government. Because one, all these outreach that the Win people are doing on the advice of their leader, he's not a part of it now. He's in the shadows. Now he's too big to go and do these things. Oh, I'm opposition leader, pending. He's too big to go there. So what happens? He's sending the others now, sending his sister, sending all of those others. Go out and show your face. Show your face, make a few promises, make some donations, because I'm not sworn in yet. So all of these actions from the Win people is now playing with the sentiments of the Guyanese people, the poor people, to now make more remarks, more public remarks, that look at how this man is representing us, and they're not swearing him in. That now can be manipulated to pressure the government to convene the parliament so they can swear in Ajudin Mohammed. It's a tactics. It's a tactics they're using, playing on the sympathy of the public. They're using that tactics, and it might very well work, because I said before, this is all a distraction. There could be deals that are being made behind closed door regarding the government and Ajudin Mohammed. So whatever comes out as press release that may have something to do with the fact that he's no longer going to be extradited. Don't think it's an accomplishment from some deity. No, it's a deal that was made. A deal that was made. So that means you, the Guyanese people who thought that you deserved that tax and deserved justice from this billionaire who did all those crimes, you would have been played. You would have been played. It wasn't you who voted for the man. But if the government that you voted for, if the government that you gave 37 seats, if the president that you massively had elected go and make a deal with the Win people behind closed doors, it meant you were betrayed by the president and his government. The fact that you voted against Win is that you voted against injustice, against robbery, against sanction, against criminality, against all these things. You voted against that. That's why you voted for the PPP. So if the PPP in any way, at any time, makes deals to save Win or Ajudin from being extradited, the PPP betrayed their supporters. They betrayed their supporters. If they do, we'll see. So all these subliminal talking points that are coming out now, and the Attorney General is making an announcement. Isn't that the president's job? The president has the constitutional mandate to make the announcement, official announcement, regarding convening of the parliament. It's the president who should do that. He said it before, but he hasn't officially came out and say, hey, it's going to be in November at this date. Hasn't done that. So if the Attorney General is going to come and do that, where is the protocol? Where is the, whose job is what? That's not for the Attorney General to do. You leave that to the president. If you're speaking on behalf of the president, that's a different case, but you don't give a timeline. The president said the constitutionally, yes, this, okay, that's it. Don't elaborate on it. It's the president who have to announce that. And while the Constitution says that the parliament must be convened 4 months after it was suspended, the Constitution also makes provision in a crisis. In a crisis. And right now, the case with Win is a crisis. You can't, under the circumstances, convene the parliament to swear in Ajudin Mohammed and his people. You can't do that. It was a crisis. That's a constitutional crisis. The parliament has to stay suspended until these things are sorted out. See what is the outcome. If he's not extradited, if he's whatever, because the opposition leader also have constitutional protection. You must understand that. Because if he is sworn in as opposition leader, I think what the Attorney General should let the people understand, what are the ramifications of that? If he is going to be sworn in and all these legal troubles he has, does it give him immunity from extradition? Does it mean that they cannot extradite him? Does it mean that his extradition has to be postponed until he's out of office? Does it mean that? If that's what it means, then you understand why the Win people and other people are pushing for him to be sworn in. Because he will be legal representation of a part of the population. The opposition leader, which means he represents the opposition, the other half of the parliament. And they cannot, while he's a sitting opposition leader, they cannot sign any order to have him extradited. They can't do that. He's an active member of parliament and the opposition leader. They can't get rid of him. Let's know that, Attorney General. Tell us about that. Let us know what the law has to do with, if he is sworn in, can he still be extradited? What are the legal things around that? Now you're giving the ammunition to Azzuddin's lawyers to say, hey, no. This man is a legitimate public servant, and he holds the position of opposition leader. Can't extradite him. That has to be put on hold. And if he wins again in the next election, can't extradite him. They have to do the battle where they do the battle. It will take the president himself to sign the order. And do you think he's going to do that? He wouldn't do that. That's his Muslim brother. He wouldn't do that. He's not going to sign the order to get the Azzuddin out. Now he can do it. He can do it right now. But when Azzuddin is sworn in as opposition leader, he wouldn't do it. It's going to be chaos in the country. Where are we heading with that? So look, we talk about this ExxonMobil thing for a few days now. Now we have all these politicians coming out and talking about new deal, new PSA, new this and new that. How is the new PSA agreement for the new wells of the Stabroek Block that was discovered recently? How is that different from the deals the PNC made? How is that different? My whole point in this is, if you're making a new deal, it means you got to scrap the old one. You don't edit the old one, you scrap it. You scrap it and you throw it away. Now you write a new arrangement, new thing. That's what new is. New is not that you update no, that's not new. It's like with a cabinet. It's not a new cabinet. You just recycle some people. Same old cabinet. So the new PSA with the ExxonMobil people, it's nonsense. Guyana is still worse off as it regards compensation. Still worse off. What can you do with 5%? 7%, what can you do with that? You actually, both governments, PNC and now the PPP government, you keep selling out the birthright of the citizens. It doesn't belong to the politicians. The oil, the resources does not belong to the politicians, not the PNC politicians and not the PPP politicians. There should have been public consultations around the country regarding these arrangements. Discuss it with the people. The same way how we had, coming up to the elections, the PPP had consultations with the country regarding the manifesto. Why can't you have consultation with the people regarding the oil contracts, regarding the deals with ExxonMobil? Which is more important? You do that in secret, but you consult with the manifesto in public. No, the manifesto is not going to bring money. The deals with Exxon is what will bring money. But if you keep making weak deals, for whatever reason, how is that going to help the populace? People will still have to suffer. They can't pay their bank loans, and you're pushing them to go take loans at the bank. But the compensation from the oil wealth is not enriching the people. How are they going to pay their bank loans? All them cars that these car companies are seizing from the people. Look at the water system. It's okay to build new pumps, new treatment centers. You build it all over the country, good. But deliver the product. Deliver the product. You can't have all of these multi-billion-dollar investments in water treatment plant, but yet the quality of water that people are receiving in their taps, it's as if it's pigeon infestation. People can't consume that. They have to keep buying waters from the distilleries. They can't trust to drink the water from the Guyana Water Authority. They're afraid of their health and all the money that was invested in putting those treatment plants there. Every time a project happens in Guyana, be it road, be it public infrastructure, be it hospitals, whatever it is, every time it happens, it is being built from loans that the government secures from foreign lenders. All of it are being done by loans. It's not public funds that are doing these projects. The government is borrowing money. So when the government borrows money to do these projects, you, the citizens, must pay it back. It's not the politicians who do that. You, the taxpayers, pay that money back. Then the question is, how much of the public funds go into this infrastructure? How much from there? What percentage? Because if you always hear China aid or UNDP or IMF, then which part is being funded by the government or the country? If all these foreign investors and these banks are building stuff, how much of the budget to build these things are coming from the taxpayers' money? All you know is that the taxpayers have to pay the loans back. But how much from the actual funds the government secures is going into building these, whatever it is? These are questions that people need answers for. So while this is good, that yes, we're building the country, that's good, that's nice. But the contracts that are being secured are secured by people within a certain group. And they might subcontract that to whoever else. But at the end of the day, 95% of the country don't benefit from these contracts. They don't. One, they don't have the means to take a contract. And two, they don't even they don't get the jobs from the contract. Because these contracting firms, they have their employee long before the government even start building stuff. These people have their employee. And now the people who are occupying a lot of these labor are the foreigners, the Venezuelans, the Colombians, the Nigerians. They're occupying a lot of these jobs that are coming out. It's not going into the hands of the Guyanese. We hear that they don't want to work, but come on. Come on. The same thing they talk about in America. The Americans don't want to work. But you need to understand that the Americans, they live a certain lifestyle. When I say that, I mean they understand the economy. The foreigners who just go there, they don't understand the economy. So they can work for $10 a day because you have 100 of them in one house. And the $10 a day, it's like $1,000. They can pool together and pay that rent. They wouldn't feel it. But the average person who live in the country, who was born there, grew up there, understand the economy, understand the hardship, you can't get them to work for $10 a day. They know it's a joke. They know it's an embarrassment. And they know that a company can pay them $20 a day. So we have the same situation in Guyana there, where the average citizen, they want the job. They need the job. But if you're going to pay them or want to pay them the same salary that you're paying a Venezuelan, it's an insult. So when the people don't take that, you say they don't want a job, they don't want to work. But it's not that they don't want to work, but they value the economy. They understand what is affordable and what's not affordable. You cannot take advantage of the local workforce just because you can get cheap labor from foreigners. Foreigners would always work under the pay grade, always, because they're not used to it in their country. So if it looks a little better than what they get in their country, they'll take it. But for your own people, knowing that you can afford to give them better, you can afford to pay them better, you choose not to pay them better, because you want a bigger profit margin. It's not nice. And the government now is subsidizing a lot of these businesses, a lot of these contractors, subsidizing them. It's not helping the country. It's not helping the ambition of the people. It's not helping the confidence of the people. And we wonder why people are leaving. You want them to come back. You want them to come back and invest. Then put proper systems in place so they can come back and invest. All of the subsidies that are going on oil and water and all these things, but yet the prices in the shops aren't reflecting the subsidies. If you're putting subsidies on oil, then what justifies the average retailer selling their markup almost 100%? What justifies that? What, tariffs? The government also has certain tariff exemptions on a lot of the products in Guyana. A lot of the stuff is imported, is manufactured in Guyana, but yet they cost more than the stuff that is coming from the other countries. The thing that is manufactured in Guyana costs more than what's coming in the country. And we have an issue with tariffs. It's exploitation. And most of the ministries are turning their backs on it because the people who have these retail stores or these wholesalers, they are people from the government. That's unfair to the average citizen. And it should not be the case. I wanted to jump to the whole Venezuela issue. There's too much talking when it comes to Venezuela. It's too much talking. Since last year, just chatting, talking all the time. This is why the people are not falling for our bluff. Because we're talking. Take a page out of Donald Trump's book. And look, don't even say it. America is great. They have the most powerful military. They have the best whatever. I get it. They are Uncle Tom. They are Big Daddy. They are the beast. I get it. Now, the fact that we always said America has our back. We give them some ridiculous, we give away the oil to Americans. We give away the gold sector to Americans. We give away the wood sector to Americans. We give away the whole bloody country to Americans. We give it away. Then if you give it away, then you have to tell the Americans, hey, we need some kind of a payback. This guy is stressing us the hell out. We can't deal with this nonsense from Maduro any longer. We need to attack this man. We need to bomb Venezuela. Because every time you have the Venezuelans gangs that are shooting Guyanese and kidnapping Guyanese and attacking the soldiers, every time they're doing that. What are the Americans doing? They're bombing the hell out of Venezuela. They're not talking anymore. Enough with the talking. Be proactive. Be on the offense. The Guyanese military need to invite or hire the American Marines or whatever it is, get into a deal with the Pentagon. Get into a deal and declare war on Venezuela. Declare war on Venezuela. Because they declared it on you. They're shooting your citizens. They're attacking Guyanese. And all we do is talk. ICJ, international this, international. All you hear in every crisis, you must have regards for the international rule of law. Nobody cares about international rule of law. Who does? Who does? Look at the Middle East. All we hear, international rule of law, international rule of law. Nobody cares about that. They want to bully you, they bully you. Venezuela don't care about international rule of law. Now they have issues with Now Venezuela is talking about international rule of law when it comes to America. But they weren't talking about that when it comes to their aggression towards Guyana. Guyana was the one who was talking about respect for the rule of law, respect for border integrity, respect for sovereignty. It was Guyana who kept talking. Took Guyana, Venezuela to the ICJ, to CARICOM, to the United Nations, the United Nations Security Council. Guyana keeps going that route just to stop the aggression from Venezuela. Did it stop the Venezuelan election of Essequibo? No. Did it stop Maduro from appointing a governor for Essequibo? No. Did it stop Maduro from moving in his troops close to the border? No. But now Maduro and Venezuela is touting international law. Oh, we are a peaceful country. We don't want war. We want to live in peace with our neighbors because the Americans are bombing the hell out of them. Now they want the world to be sympathetic to Venezuela. But when they were doing it to Guyana, nobody was like, let the ICJ ruling come down. Let this come down. We must wait. While they were provoking and bullying us. But now that the Americans are bombing their ships and bombing their boat, and Donald Trump said yesterday that they have control of the sea, now they're going to go inland. You know what that means? They already fight narco traffickers in the ocean, international waters of the coast of Venezuela. Now he says, okay, good, they get the message there. But we can't stop there. We have to now fight them on land. Which land is he talking about? American land? No, Venezuela. So now he's talking about actual invasion going in the jungles of Venezuela where the drugs are planted, where there are packages in there and declare war. They're now going in and fighting the gangs. And you know when that happens, you go on a man's soil and declare war on him. That's the war breakout there. Trump had already given the go-ahead. Go in and get them now. And in the process, they might very well get Maduro in the process. Why don't you now, Guyana, capitalize on that? The Americans already start the war. Say, hey, use our borders. Go to Venezuela via Guyana, use our borders, go get them. Because the same border region there, where they trend the Aragua group, and these are the Venezuelan gangs, drug gangs that are fighting and shooting the Guyanese soldiers and threatening the Guyanese people there. That's where the Trump administration needs to start the war. That's there. They need to go there and declare war, start fighting them from there and go inland to Caracas, then get Maduro. They need to start the war from the Guyana borders. Because if you're dealing with land, they have to do it via Guyana. Colombia wouldn't allow them. Guyana must open the borders so that the Americans, the Marines and the American Special Forces can use Guyana's borders to attack Venezuela. They have to do that. Otherwise to that, Maduro wouldn't stop. He will use Guyana as a payback. Because he can't get to America, he's going to do it to Guyana. He's going to bomb Guyana just because he can't bomb the Americans. Don't wait for him to bomb you. You throw the first bomb. You make the first move. You have to do the first attack. Guyana has to attack Venezuela because they attacked us. Too much talking. Open war against Venezuela. The Americans already said that they begin it. Let them know, hey, we're with you. Let's go together. Let's go and finish this nonsense. Declare it. All this chit chat is too much. Years of talking. Since whenever. You got to bring an end to it. You have to end it once and for all. Don't leave it for the next generation. Don't leave it for the next president. In this presidency, President Irfan needs to put an end to Venezuela's aggression once and for all. Now you have to do it. The Americans just won the invite. I'm sure you've already done that. But let's get a public announcement that, hey, this is it. So the Venezuelans get the message. And while you're at it, while you're planning to do that, evict. I couldn't understand. How is it that since the Venezuelans start attacking Guyana, how is it you still have an embassy of Venezuela in Guyana? How? You're still meeting with Venezuelan ambassador and all these things. How? You should have, from the first instant, when Venezuela were declaring that Essequibo belongs to them, you should have evicted the ambassador and confiscated the embassy building because it belongs to you. Evict the ambassador. Since then, you should have done it. You're accommodating them. If you have ambassadors of Guyana in Venezuela, recall them. Every agent you have, recall them. Cut all ties with Venezuela. No business, no trade, nothing. You cut all ties with Venezuela. But you can't be coming on one platform and talking about how Venezuela invaded and thing of sovereignty in Venezuela days, but you're still doing business with Venezuela. You're still meeting with Venezuelan ambassador. They're the enemy and you're still meeting with them. I'm the friend and I can't meet with you. Imagine that. They're the enemy and they can walk in anytime they want. They can pick up their phone and get to the president anytime they want. And they are the enemy. They keep lying and lying and lying. Close down the Venezuelan embassy, evict the Venezuelan ambassador from Guyana and all the Venezuelan operatives. Close the border. No more refugees. No more immigrants. Close the Guyana border to Venezuela. Close it. If the people cross, send them back. Those who are undocumented in Guyana, round them up and send them back. You have to fight fire with fire. You can't be nice and smiley, and only when there is some event you bring up Venezuela. The Venezuela issue was cold, but they keep attacking Guyana. They keep provoking Guyana. But it was only mentioned recently because of this military stuff, this celebration. We should be on Venezuela's case every opportunity we get. Every opportunity we get. Round up the people. Ship them back to Venezuela. Close the border to Venezuela. Guyanese should not be going there, and they should not be coming here. If they want to come to Guyana, let them do it via the legitimate means. Because you don't know who's crossing. You could very well have gang members from Venezuela coming over to Guyana in preparation. You can very well have that. Imagine if you have 10,000 Venezuelan prisoners who are coached, or you can have 10,000 Venezuelan militants or military personnel who pretend to be refugees, pretend to have a problem with the Maduro regime, and they cross over in Guyana and they're sleepers. They're waiting for the order. They could have that too. They could have a lot of Venezuelan suicide bombers in Guyana. We don't know. These people are not vetted. They don't even speak English. And you allow them to come in the country. They're taking possessions of the jobs. They're taking possessions of all these things. And they're renting houses at exorbitant rent, taking that opportunity away from the average Guyanese. They're working for low pay, but they're paying high rent because they're also being funded by Maduro. All the agents of Maduro that is in Guyana, they're also funding these people to keep them around in case they're needed. So a lot of the things that can happen, we need to be proactive and prepare for that. While we may not be as powerful as America, we are an ally to America. America has more to lose if something happens to Guyana. So it is in the best interest of America's national security to protect Guyana at all cost. At all cost. So Venezuela has been provoking us for a while. Bomb the hell out of them. How long are you going to take it? You can't keep taking that. Fight back. Now is the time to fight back. They want war, let's give them one. Don't wait for it to come to you. Start now. Join the fight. They took control of the sea, then we can take control of the land. Maybe we can get a bigger piece of Venezuela. Maybe we can annex, a part of Venezuela as well. Don't wait for them to come and annex SUK, but we should annex a part of Venezuela. We should expand the borders of Guyana. Go back to beyond the 18-something agreement. Go beyond that. But don't wait. And I stand by what I say. In case you're checking. So before I close off for today, let's recap. Keep the parliament suspended. You see what I talk about the laws? You see how careless drivers who drive under the influence of alcohol, they drink, they get drunk, and they drive. See why the laws are important? And while Attorney General Anil Nandalal are talking about the government is going after people who damage infrastructure, there should be jail time attached to that, man. People can pay a fine. They can pay a fine. It doesn't hurt like that. Look at what they did with that accident, that minibus. Whoever's responsible, so many poles they took down, disturbed the whole traffic flow. Why do you think they do this and they don't think about the consequences? Because there is no consequence besides them dying or they get a fine. There's no consequence. That man who lost his leg, if all those people that is involved with that accident, if they knew prior to that, listen, if your breath has alcohol and you make an accident, there's no ticket, there's no license suspension, you're going to jail. Plus you pay a fine, plus you can never drive again. You will see how quick they'll pull themselves up. You don't want to send them to jail. Because what? Because what? People don't trust this process. When you talk about the government will go after people, the public don't trust that. Because in the public's mind, what if that person knows somebody from the government or some minister or some director or something? They just write that off. They're not going to pay that fine because they are friends of the government. That's what people will say. You can't go down the road of talking about fine and fine and fine. You have to talk about jail time. Change the laws. Attorney General, recommend new legislation. You have the majority of the parliament. People must understand that their recklessness would have jail time accompanied to it. They must understand that. It's too much carnage on the roadways. It's too much. They're speeding like hell. Their vehicles are not fit. They're paying on monies under the table to get the fitness. So when they're speeding and they have to come to a stop, the vehicle just get out of control. Could be that the parts under the vehicle are not proper. All this speeding ticket, all the speeding system that you have, Attach jail time with the crime. Breaking traffic laws should have jail time. You can't jail somebody for a seatbelt. You can't do that for a broken tail light, or you can't do that for tint and those kinds of stuff. That you can give them a fine. But accidents that happen as a result of speeding, damage to public infrastructure, should have accompanied by jail time. That should happen. That's where you come harsh. If you give people what they didn't ask for, then you have to tell them that, hey, I know you didn't support this person, but look, the person is doing their job, and people will learn to accept it. But if you push ministers and public officials, you push it to the public. The public didn't ask for them. You push it to the public, and they still can't perform. Then you lose the public support in a general sense. I don't think Anand Nandalal should be Attorney General. They are much more qualified, firm, harsher, stricter people in the PPP that can do a better job as Attorney General. Anand Nandalal is a politician, not a public servant. He's a politician, and as a politician, he should not be Attorney General. For somebody to be Attorney General, they should have the spirit of public service. And there are a lot of people in the PPP that has that personality. Because these guys are just politicking all the time. It's just politics, politics, politics. They say something, they're done with it. There's no follow-up. They're done with it. Public servants deliver. They deliver. They're consistent. That's what you need. Somebody mentioned to me with the situation with Janet Jagan, the wife of President Chetty, when the PNC didn't want her to become the president, when she handed over the reign to Bar Jagdeo then, something the person pointed out to me, they said, you know, the public didn't have a say. Not even the PPP supporters didn't have a say in Bar Jagdeo becoming the president. Nobody had a say. It was given, forced on the people. And there were people within the PPP then who were against it. To them, they have other people in the PPP at the time who were much capable of taking that role. So when they were forced, the Bar Jagdeo was forced on them, there was a large segment of the PPP that was against it. They said, no, we didn't ask for this. We didn't ask for Janet 1, we didn't ask for Jagdeo. They didn't see that happening. It just happened that Chetty couldn't anymore. So it wasn't a process whereby the people had a say in that. This is not something we want. The people must have a say in every aspect of governance. But when you just pull people out, even the Mark Phillips guy, the prime minister, the people didn't consent to that. They didn't consent to that. All of these things were forced on the people. And because the people need to identify with something, they need to show that they have a sense of loyalty, they accept it. It's as if they don't have a choice. You should have consultation in these appointments from within your base. Because there are more people in the PPP, capable people, who could do a much better job than a lot of these positions that are forced on the people because this one might be close to this, or this one will be close to this, or this person's family is funding the PPP, or this person's family. No, we got to stop the politics, man. We got to stop the politics. Deliver quality service and quality personnel to the Guyanese because they deserve it. They deserve it, and you should respect that and deliver quality, be consistent. Enough with the corruption, enough with the lies, enough with the pretense, because at the end of the day, The people who made Irfan Ali president in 2020 are the Indo-Guyanese and a small portion of the Afro-Guyanese. The people who made Irfan Ali president again were the same Indo-Guyanese and a larger percentage of Afro-Guyanese. They are the ones with the power, not the president. Because without these two groups, President Ali could not have been president twice. None of them. So this whole arrogance that we're seeing now is not called for. And this is why people always treat. You see what they did to PNC? You see how the people treated the PNC? This constitutional crisis we have right now is because of the arrogance of Norton and the PNC. People taught them a lesson. If the PPP don't pull themselves up and stop this arrogance too soon, the next election is there and the people will teach you a lesson. You don't want that. Tell them ministers, they're ministers now, they're recycled ministers, tell them they had the time and the resources to go into the ghettos and the neighborhoods before elections. Let them find the time to keep going. Don't let win the Ajudin Mohammed's people. Don't let them take that slack. The government's people, the PPP support, the top brass, they found the time 3 months ago. They made the time. They went into neighborhoods. They spent time with people. Suddenly they're busy. Now they're busy. And look who is taking that slack up. The WIN people. You can't see the PPP people. You're seeing the WIN people and the APNO people. Don't do that, man. You people are behaving like the typical hustlers. You're behaving like the typical hustlers. You want something, you talk sweet. Oh my gosh, yeah, you this. They praise you when they get it. When they get it. Oh, is that guy again? You got to stop this nonsense. People are getting smart. Guyanese are getting smart. If you don't stop this, you will make the WIN people get a larger victory in 2030. A larger victory. Stop this nonsense. Until next time. Goodbye.